So coming from Reuters, SpaceX blocked from early U.S. benchmark index entry as S&P reaffirms existing rules. Holy hell, holy hell. I didn't think it was possible in 2026, but apparently somebody still has a brain. So maybe the SpaceX IPO won't be the complete and utter disaster that I think it will be. It will only be mostly a disaster. So one of the big things with the SpaceX IPO, so SpaceX, under Elon Musk is IPOing. They put the price of their shares at $135 a share, with the total market cap when they IPO being $1.77 trillion, right? And with that, they're going to try to raise somewhere between $75 to $86 billion. And that is what it is. Again, to be clear, when I talk about this, Alibaba was the largest IPO in US history. They IPO'd at $169 billion. And I think they did a raise of either $25 or $29 billion a few years ago. And so when we talk about this, so at $1.77 billion, that is 10x the IPO of Alibaba. And Alibaba, to be clear, was the largest IPO in US history. So anyways, Elon Musk is pushing this through, and look, it's going to be what it's going to be. One of the curious things with this, though, is that he's pushing through so that the SpaceX stock will be added into index funds much more quickly than it normally would. So there's something called the NASDAQ 100. And so the idea is the 100 largest stocks on the NASDAQ, that is an index fund. So basically when you buy into an index fund, you pay an amount of money, and then you get essentially equity in all of the companies in that index fund. And so index funds are used mainly for things like 401k plans. Like when you're looking at retirement plans, when you're looking at just pretty stable investment, right? If you don't want to have to worry about your investments day in and day out, you go in and you buy an index fund. They've been popular now for 30 years, and they've actually been a really good return on investment. There's not a lot to be snarky about. The only problem you get to with index funds is the whole thing is once too many people start using the index funds, there becomes a question on what their valuation should actually be. But otherwise, they basically make a lot of sense. The issue, though, is with this rapid entry of SpaceX into these index funds, it looks like it might actually blow them up, right? Because the company is going to be so large, it's going to be the seventh, if the IPO goes worth a damn, it will be the seventh most valuable company in the entire United States, and it's going to get accelerated entry into the NASDAQ 100 in 15 days. So not a year, not 6 months, 15 days. And so one of the concepts is most of the time when a stock IPOs, before it can go into an index fund, there has to be a period of time just to make sure what the price actually should be. Like one of the things you'll notice with IPOs is sometimes in an IPO, the price will pop, right? The price just goes way up, but then like 2 days later, it goes way down, right? And so that's the thing is where, like if you're gonna put it into an index fund, you don't want the stock price doing this when you're trying to put it into the index fund because it's just too what's called volatile. The other issue you might run into is that the stock drops. I mean, I remember when Facebook dropped. Facebook came out and it just went off a damn cliff. And it stayed down there for a while and then started going up and up and up. And so that's the other thing too. Like maybe the value of it is too low. And so one of the things, if you're gonna go into an index fund, like one of the primary concepts with an index fund is that it should be relatively stable. It should be literally one of the most boring forms of investment. You know, you set aside $100 every paycheck to go to your 401k plan, and you just dump it into the S&P 500 or the NASDAQ 100 or whatever else. It should be pretty simple and boring. And so one of the big concerns here is with SpaceX getting this rapid admission into the NASDAQ 100, there's like, what's going on? It's just, right? There's a real concern about what that will do to the valuations in the index fund. One of the other things I'm more concerned about is simply people's trust in the system, right? Ever since the Great Recession, ever since we got into that, people have had less and less trust in our financial systems going forward. I think that's one of the reasons that Bitcoin and a lot of the cryptocurrencies have taken off, because right? If you can see that the value of the US dollar has dropped by 10% in a year, if you see the values of the stocks going all over the board, right? If you lose trust in these economic systems, then where are you going to put your money? One of the big things to understand in business, one of the big things to understand with civilization is it really comes down to trust. Do you trust the system, right? I've been to countries where people in the countries don't save any money. Like they literally don't save for retirement. And I've sat down and I've talked with people, again, smart people, motivated people, intelligent people, professionals. And I'm like, why don't you save for retirement? And again, in some of these countries, you're like, Eli, you know what can happen in 10 years? Like, Eli, I'm 30 years old. I've already been through 20 disasters, right? Because that's the thing, right? You save money, and inflation in some countries has gone to 100%. Inflation at 100% per year. So can you imagine saving all your money for 20 years? I'm going to save my money for retirement, and then it's just worthless, right? You've been eating rice, you've been living in a small house, you've been doing all the things in order to be in a good economic position. And then all of a sudden, everything goes to hell. And basically, you weren't able to have fun with the money, right? You have friends of yours, and they partied, and they got nice cars, and they did vacations, and you're always looking at them like, well, like when you retire, you're going to be screwed. And now you're looking at it, and you're like, well, I'm actually in the exact same position that they are, economic position that they're in, and they've had fun for the past 20 years. Right? So that's why you go to some countries and some people, and again, a lot of they don't save money because they don't see the purpose in it. And that's one of my big concerns with space. Look, there's the normal insanity. Like there's the normal, like being a tech professional and having done business and being an investor and all that. There's my normal concerns with SpaceX and Anthropic and OpenAI. Right? There's just the brass tack concerns. They are what they are. Everybody has their opinions, whatever else. Why this is such an ass pucker moment for me isn't because some people are going to lose money on these IPOs, isn't because this AI technology just has not shown the value that they said it would. It's that with these valuations, they may structurally damage the very thin threads of trust so many people have in our society towards the economic system that we currently have, right? That is my concern here. It's not SpaceX, comes out at $1.72 trillion and then a lot of rich people lose money. But, right, that it's a risk. You want to put money in SpaceX, that's your business. My concern is when SpaceX is automatically put into the index fund, people's retirement funds, they're not thinking about this, right? Their retirement funds, which is supposed to be a very boring investment mechanism, all of a sudden that goes to hell. And then you start to have a lot of people, why bother building the system? Why bother saving for tomorrow? These rich, syphilitic pieces of crap will screw you one way or the other. I'm done. I'm out. And when people start doing that, our civilization fails. And that's my concern. So that's one of the reasons I'm actually excited. Woo! Who thought Eli, the computer guy, would be excited about the S&P 500? But I'm actually excited right now because it appears the people that are dealing with the S&P 500 at least haven't lost their good gosh darn minds, and SpaceX is not going to be automatically added to the S&P 500. And the way it looks, probably, I'm just going to say it may never be added to the S&P 500. S&P Global said on Thursday it was not changing the requirements for entry into its major indices, dealing a setback for Elon Musk's SpaceX by effectively ruling out a swift entry for the world's biggest ever IPO into the benchmark S&P 500 index. I will say with this, we think it's going to be the biggest ever IPO. it may go boom. It may go boom. Musk has rewritten the IPO playbook for SpaceX in many ways, from planning to give retail investors a bigger role in allocations to pushing for early index inclusion and structuring governance to preserve strong founder control. So remember, after this thing IPOs, he is still going to have over 80% voting rights. The other thing with this is for retail investors, he's trying to allot up to 30% of the IPO allocation to retail investors. It's normally somewhere between 5 to 10%, and he's trying to push for this crap to go into these index funds. S&P said, quote, exceptions to the financial viability, seasoning, and investment weight factor requirements should not be granted solely based on market capitalization. To be included in the S&P 500, a company must be profitable under generally accepted accounting principles, called GAAP, in its most recent quarter, as well as the sum of its most recent 4 quarters, according to one of the rules S&P left unchanged. And so this is one of the reasons why I wonder if it'll ever get into the S&P 500. So not only does it have to be profitable for 1 quarter, so I think theoretically Anthropic could say they were profitable for 1 quarter, but it actually has to be profitable on the whole for the past 4 quarters. SpaceX posted a net loss of $4.944 billion in 2025, even as revenue rose 33% to $18.67 billion. Quote, it speaks highly to the credibility of the S&P Dow Jones indices to be rules-based and make sure there's profitability before entrance to the index, said Art Hogan, chief marketing strategist, blah, blah, blah. Quote, making exceptions because companies are so large and have been private so long, yet are still not profitable, didn't make a great deal of sense. I would agree. NASDAQ has already made changes that will make it easier for SpaceX, Anthropic, and other newly listed megacaps to join its NASDAQ 100 index. NASDAQ 100 index funds will be forced to buy a sizable portion of publicly available SpaceX shares when the company joins that index. So the nice thing is, normally when you're talking about these index funds, you're normally talking about the S&P 500. You do have the NASDAQ 100 over here that people invest in. So hopefully not enough people invest in the NASDAQ 100 so that when everything goes boom, our entire society doesn't fail. S&P Global said it would modify entry rules for its broader S&P Total Market Index and Dow Jones U.S. Total Stock Market Index, creating a pathway for SpaceX to join those less widely followed indexes. SpaceX has also already become eligible for inclusion in both Russell U.S. equity indexes and the FTSE Global Equity Index Series under the newly announced fast entry rules from the index provider FTSE Russell. So, you know, that's there. So they are going to be put into the index, the NASDAQ 100. They are going to be put into these other index funds. But at least SpaceX will be kept out of, you know, the S&P 500. So it's a win. Look, in 2026, all I'm looking for is a win. It may not be a clean win. It may not be the best win in the world, but at least we have a win. At least somebody has half a brain cell left and hasn't sold their soul into the Elon Musk machine. So yeah, and we'll be curious to see how this goes when SpaceX IPOs. What is it? Is it the 4th today? Is it the 5th? Oh, it's coming up, isn't it? They're IPOing next week. They're IPOing next week. You, my friend, if you don't have a heart attack or a stroke in the next week, you might actually be witness to the end of a civilization. Isn't that exciting? I laugh because there's not much else I can do. I have no power over this. I have no power over the NASDAQ 100. I have no power over SpaceX trying to IPO at $1.77 trillion. I am just along for this very stupid ride. So yeah, what do you think about this? What do you think about SpaceX being kept out of the S&P 500? And with those rules for profitability, it looks like they're going to be out of the S&P 500 for a very long time. Does that make you excited? Or do you think that's just old boomers not letting the cool kid into the club? I don't know. Put your thoughts down below. If you like these episodes, do remember they're on Spotify and on Apple Podcasts. Link is in the doobly-doo. If you want to follow me on LinkedIn, there's a link down there too. With that, see y'all later.